Now, I only had 30 minutes and probably lesser than that now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go through some of the most common questions that people ask from PERA and just give you kind of information like surface level. But then I'm going to give you all of the information about where to get further education. We offer webinars regularly. We have them recorded, so they're on demand. We also have a ton of resources through our website, and right now we're kind of forging into e-learning. So you can just pick one topic and do a 5-minute e-learning on just one topic. And so those are all things that are coming digitally for education. And so there's a lot of resources available to you, even if you don't get all the information that you hoped for today. And I will answer as many questions as I have time for. I think we're shooting to try and be done by 4:30, 4:35. Okay. Got it. Okay. Let's see if we can. There we go. All right. So within PERA, there are 2 different benefit types. One is called defined benefit, and one is called defined contribution. And the defined benefit is the traditional PERA pension that pays you a monthly lifetime income as long as you live. How many of you know that you're in the defined benefit plan? Okay. So that would be if you didn't ever make a choice, if you didn't say, I chose this one or that one, then you would be defaulted into the defined benefit because it's the original PERA design plan. And the defined benefit has not only lifetime income, but you get pay raises in retirement. You have survivor benefits, disability benefits, and when you retire, you have access to our retirement health care with subsidy. And so that makes it a little bit more affordable in retirement. So all of those things are part of that retirement plan called the defined benefit. Most people, about 88% of all PERA members are in the defined benefit because it is kind of holistic. It provides a large amount of retirement security. On the other side is the defined contribution plan, and that is essentially a retirement savings account. Think of it like a 401k, except it's mandatory. You don't have a choice about how much you contribute. It is set by state legislature. And so the defined contribution doesn't have a guaranteed income amount, but it is a retirement savings account that you get to use however you want. The one thing that is really great about the defined contribution is that it's flexible. You can use as much money or as little money as you want on a given month. It's not a specific amount that you get paid each month. But the downside of it is there's no guarantee that that the money's going to live as long as you do. And so that's kind of the risk involved there. Now, most of what I'm going to talk about today is in the defined benefit, that one, because that's by far the more complicated benefit. This one, the most important thing to do is just understand your investing, understand how to calculate future value of the account and those types of things. So I won't spend a lot of time doing that, but I will show you where you can get more information about defined contribution plan if you're in it. Now, also included in PERA, we have voluntary defined contribution accounts. So if you're interested in this, if you're already in the defined benefit and you're thinking, I want to have extra savings, we also offer the 401k and 457, and I'll give you information about where you can get further education on those 2 plans. Also want to talk a little bit about why that is really important if you're in the defined benefit to have extra savings. Okay, so we have your contributions and your employer's contributions, and what happens with your money when it goes into PERA. Does anybody know what happens to your money when it goes into PERA? Okay, that's fine if you don't. One of the cool things about PERA is that you sign up on your first day of work and the money goes in and you don't have to do anything. And when you get to your retirement date, if you did nothing, you still get a lifetime benefit. And it's still the same as it would have been if you had been paying attention to it in most cases. So there are a few things that you may want to pay attention to, but in general, that defined benefit, you're putting your money into your account. It goes in there. While it's in your account, PERA pays you interest. So you're getting 3% interest on the money that's in your account currently. And it builds up over your career. Now, something that's really important, it's always your money. So after you leave, you can take the money out and do whatever you want with it, or you can leave it with PERA. So anytime that you leave PERA employment, that's always your money. Different than like Social Security, where you put the money in. If you decided you wanted your money back from Social Security, no way, okay? So this is always your money. You can do with it as you please. Another really interesting thing about the money in your account, it doesn't actually have, in most cases, doesn't actually have anything to do with how much you get paid in retirement. We'll talk about how we calculate that retirement benefit in just a second. Your retirement, or sorry, the money that you put into your account, typically, when you get to retirement, that's what pays you first. So let's say that you work for 25 years and you're looking at your account balance and you have $215,000 in your PERA account. Seems like a lot of money, but usually what it represents is only about the first 5 to 6 years of retirement income. And once you are past that, your account balance is completely depleted. That's when the trust fund picks up and pays you for as long as you live. So that's what's cool about it, is the money that you put in really is only funding about the first 5 or 6 years of your retirement. Then your employer's contributions pick up, and that's what pays you for the rest of your life. So, anybody know how much you're contributing right now? Okay, it's 11%. It's a lot. 11% is more than I had contributed anywhere else as an employee. But when you think about it in terms of what you would be contributing somewhere else, my last job before I came to PERA, I was contributing 5% into a 403B, and that was probably not going to do it for me. I was probably never going to be able to retire with 5%. I was also paying almost 7% in Social Security. So together, the 5 and the 7, that's actually 12%, right? So it's actually more than what you're paying currently in PERA because you're not paying Social Security. So the 11% seems like a lot, and it is percentage-wise of your income, but it actually funds a really great retirement income. Who knows how much your employer is paying? CSU. How much does CSU pay? Did you say 9?
Yeah.
21.4%. A lot. Yeah. So CSU pays 21.4%. That's going into the PERA trust fund. PERA takes both of these dollar amounts on the back end, invests and earn investment returns. And that's why they're able to pay for not only your lifetime income, but these other benefits as well. So you get a benefit increase, that's a pay raise in retirement. You have survivor benefits. So if you pass away before you get to retirement, your qualified survivors are going to receive monthly income, in some cases, for the rest of their life. Disability program after 5 years, and that's really important because after 5 years, you no longer have disability benefits through Social Security if you don't pay into Social Security for 5 years. So that picks up, it pays you 22 months of short-term disability, and if you become permanently disabled, covers lifetime income. For most people, it's about 50% of what you're earning as a PERA member. And then finally, health care with benefits. Now, I will say the health care is really good, but it's not really cheap. PERA provides a subsidy that helps keep the cost down, but these are private plans, so they don't qualify for government subsidies, and so they're not necessarily cheap. Retirement health care can be very expensive, especially before age 65. So just something to think about when you're planning 10, 15, 20 years down the road for retirement. Okay, so how do we calculate your benefit? I'll try and get through this quickly. We're looking at 3 factors when we calculate your retirement income. Your age when you retire, service credit, how many years do you have with a PERA employer? And we count service credit in months. So every month that you work, you're getting service credit. And then your highest average salary, which is the highest years of earnings anywhere in your career. We're looking at your top 3 years or possibly your top 5 years. How do you know which is which? How do you know if you have a 3-year or a 5-year? The best way to know is to log into your PERA member account, because you can look at your highest average salary and it's going to show you all the years that are being used in the calculation, including a base year, which is just, it's not included in the average, but it's how they set the limit on how much your salary can increase from year to year in those top years. Just basic way to know if you're on a 3-year or a 5-year, if you're just dying to know right now and you can't log into your account. If you have 8 years before January 1st of this year in PERA, then most likely you're on a 3-year highest average salary. Otherwise, you would most likely, I'm sorry, 7 years. 7 years. 2022? 2015? Yeah. Okay. Is that 7 or is that 8? Okay, so it's 7 years. So if you have 7 or more years now, most likely you are on a 3-year highest average salary. So the other 2 factors, the highest average salary you can find by logging into your account. The other 2 factors, your age. The earliest you can retire is age 50. But it goes up after that. So the longer you wait to retire up until age 65, typically the higher your benefit amount is. And we'll look at a table in just a minute that helps you understand that. And then service credit. So every month that you're earning at least $580, which is a pretty low standard, that represents 80 times $7.25. This blows my mind, this $7.25. Anybody know what that is? Federal minimum wage. Yeah, there are places where you could be earning $7.25, actually quite a lot of them. So we base our minimum on half-time employment, 80 hours a month. That's at the lowest possible wage in the country. So it's a very generous calculation. You get full service. Even if you have less than that amount, they'll give you prorated, so service credit for each month. That's actually a really important thing to know if anybody is working part-time, you know, hourly or whatever, and they come and ask you like about PERA, someone's talking to you, they could be earning full-time PERA service credit even if they're working less than 40 hours a month. Okay, and then purchasing service credit is the other way that you can get service credit. And the more service credit you have, the higher your benefit amount is. Purchasing is not cheap. Now, the reason for that is because a couple of slides back, I showed you something. Your contribution's 11% and your employer's contribution is 21.4%. When you're purchasing service credit, your employer is not helping with that. You're paying the full cost of the benefit. That's why purchasing service credit tends to be fairly expensive. It's based on your highest average salary. So this thing, your average salary, they're going to charge you a percentage of what is your current highest average salary. And the percentage depends on your age. Now, how much can you buy? How much service credit can you buy? Was anyone hired before 1999 into PERA? Okay. If you were hired before 1999, then these are the rules that apply to you. It's going to be basically you have to be employed currently. You have to have at least 1 year in PERA, and then you can buy up to 10 years of any employment outside of PERA. Now, this is really cool because even though it may be expensive, I could cover time that I did not work for a PERA employer with PERA benefits. So give you an example, I worked for McDonald's for 2 whole years in high school. Yes, it was a bad experience, but I did do it. And so I could actually cover McDonald's employment with PERA benefits. Unfortunately, it would be based on my current salary, not my McDonald's salary, which would make it a lot less. So those are the rules if you were hired before 1999. If you were hired later, the rules are a little bit more complicated. There are 2 different types of service credit that you can buy. McDonald's would be considered private sector time, or what we call non-qualified. So you can purchase up to 5 years of non-qualified McDonald's time after you have been employed for 5 years as a PERA employee. So you have to work 5 years, then you can buy 5 years of private sector time. The far more generous way is if you have governmental type work. So I also worked for 8 years at a private school as a math teacher. I could buy up to 10 years of private sector, or sorry, public or governmental type employment. In private school, any university or college employment is also considered governmental. Any city, county, local government type of employment would also be considered governmental. So you could buy up to 10 years of that. You could buy up to 10 years of the private, 5 years of the private sector time, but a maximum of 10 years total between the 2. So I could combine my 2 years at McDonald's with my 8 years at a private school and get up to a 10-year maximum. So this is a way to add extra service credit if you are looking to either retire sooner or retire with a higher income. I actually, after I left the private school and came back to PERA, I was able to buy 4.5 years with my 8 years worth of 403B savings. So it's not a one-to-one. It's, as I mentioned, it's kind of expensive, but I'm happy that I did. Okay, so then the reason that you want to purchase service credit, looking at this table, this is table 7. Can't really see that at the top. Let me see if I can. It doesn't matter. Give me 1 second. I'll hide this because I don't think I need this. There we go. All right, so your age is across the top. Starts at age 50 and goes up to age 65 and 65 plus. So anything over 65, it's just going to pay you the same as the 65 amount. So if you're not working and you're continuing to wait, you can see that if you stopped working at age 50 with 20 years of service credit, it says 28.6. Now that's 28.6% of your highest average salary. To bring this all full circle, that's why the highest average salary is important, is because you're going to get a percentage of that. So that 28%, that's just over a quarter of your salary. Most of us would not ever be able to live on a quarter of our salary. So what you could do is, even if you didn't want to work more past age 55 here, you could wait. And you can see from age 55 to 65, it goes from 28% all the way up to 50% just by waiting. Now, if you waited past age 65, it would not increase anymore. Now, your other option here is if you're at age 60 or 55 with 20 years and you continue to work, it also increases. And in this case, by the time you got to age 62, you would be at 27 years of service credit, and that would equal 67.5% of your highest average salary. Now you're getting closer to the amount that you might be able to retire on, right? And if you continue working beyond that, you would hit 70 and then 72. It goes up by 2.5% each year once you get out of the green shaded area, which is considered early retirement. Now, this is table 7. You might be on a different table, which means it might look different. If you started earlier in PERA than, say, 2016, then probably you're on a different table. You might be on table 6. I'm on table 2. I started in 2004 in PERA originally. And so your table kind of sticks with you. Even if you leave PERA and come back, you typically will keep the same table. Any questions about this before I move on? How does it work? Okay. One other thing before I move on, I like to pull up this myth wherever I go. Up there, it starts at 5. What happens if you leave PERA employment before you get to 5 years? You're not vested. I did say I'm going to blow up a myth, so that's a myth. The vesting myth is actually not true. You can retire at age 65 even if you only have 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So anybody that's leaving PERA employment, if you're ever talking to somebody and they're like, I don't have 5 years, I'm just going to cash out. They can wait until age 65 and collect that retirement benefit, monthly income, access to the retirement healthcare, and all of those things. So, all right. Now we're going to move on and talk about some different topics here, the webinars. So this is where I'm going to give you the information to get more information. On the back table there, I've got 3 flyers. They are mid-career, late career, and retirement ready. So those are the 3 brochures that are on the table there. So if you are mid-career, maybe you've got 15 years until retirement, that would be the mid-career. I would recommend going to a benefit information webinar. It's going to be a lot of the same information I covered here, but there's going to be a little bit more about the calculation. There's going to be more about the built-in benefits like survivor disability and those things. The second brochure is this one, late career pre-retirement planning webinar. And this is for me, it's one of my favorite webinars because it gives the most valuable information, in my opinion. It actually gives you a few ways that you can increase your highest average salary and maximize your PERA income. So that one is a really important one if you're within 10 years, but not like retiring in the next 2. Creating a retirement budget. That's part of the presentation, talking about all of the different sources of income you have, not just PERA. Oftentimes people will tell you, oh, you're in PERA, you can't have Social Security as well. That's not true. You can have Social Security and PERA. There may be a reduction to your Social Security, but you can actually have both. And people who have both are always better off than people who just have Social Security, which is another big myth, is that if you start with PERA, you're giving up your Social Security or you're losing something. You actually are always going to be better off having PERA and Social Security than just Social Security, even if there is a reduction to your Social Security. There it is. PERA and Social Security is one of the topics there. Healthcare and a bunch of other topics, things like purchasing service credit, working after retirement, all of those types of topics in this one. So this one really helps you prepare. A lot of times what happens is you're working and you're like, retirement is getting closer and closer. And then you're like, I'm going to retire next year, or I'm going to retire in 2 years. And maybe you haven't set up all the things that you have that would be beneficial to set up. And so this kind of gives you that information to make sure that when you're approaching retirement, you're taking care of all the details that will give you the easiest entrance into retirement. Not that there's anything wrong if you're a year or 2 away and you're thinking about retiring in the next year or 2, you're fine, because like I mentioned earlier, you don't have to do much to PERA. It kind of manages itself. PERA is doing its thing in the background while you're working and earning service credit. Okay, and then the next one, retirement ready within 1 to 2 years. Requesting a benefit estimate is a topic in there. An official benefit estimate from PERA, that's where you can really sit down and put numbers on paper and say, is it reasonable for me to retire? So that's where you would start. How to fill out the forms and when to submit them. Choosing a retirement option. You have 3 options, 1, 2, and 3. They're very cleverly named. And so you can choose to provide for just yourself for as long as you live, or you can actually choose one other human person to share your lifetime income. And whoever lives the longest wins and gets all the money from your PERA account as long as they live. So you're selecting another person to share your benefits under options 2 or 3. And then PERA, Social Security again, working after retirement. PERA Care is our retirement health care, so we'll give a little bit more information about that, subsidy, and all of those things. So these 2 webinars, you can find them, there's a QR code on the brochure in the back that you can just scan and attend one of those. And I may or may not be presenting. All right. This was another topic listed, investing advice. People wanted investing information. So we actually, what we call PERA Plus, everything has a cute PERA name, PERA Care, PERA Plus. And internally it's way worse. Like we have the paraphrase news and we have, so all PERA Pulse, all of the things start with PERA. PERA Plus, the reason it's called PERA Plus, and this is my big pitch. PERA is mandatory. You don't have a choice about whether you participate in PERA. You're contributing 11% regardless of who you are, where you work, what your income is. PERA Plus is our 401k and 457 plans, and they're voluntary. And the reason that they're incredibly important is because when you get to retirement, I used to just think, I love PERA because it provides me monthly income that I know I can count on for as long as I live. And that's something to me that creates a lot of peace, right? I know that I have that, it's always going to be there. But what I never thought about was what happens when I have to pay for a medical bill. It's, maybe $1,000 or $2,000. What happens when my furnace goes out in the middle of winter? I have this monthly budget, but do I have enough savings to pay for those major expenses? What if I just want to go to Tahiti because I want to go to Tahiti? So those types of things. And so the PERA Plus, these are voluntary and there is no minimum contribution. One of the coolest things about PERA and the coolest things about my job is I'm not actually selling anything right now because I don't get commissions. There's no commissions. You don't pay any commissions because we're not for profit. Everything that goes into your account will stay in your account. There are administrative fees for the management because some of our funds, they have administrative costs. And so we pay for those administrative costs. But just to give you an example, in my 403B, before I came to PERA, I was paying over 1%, over 1 whole percent. The funds in this, the maximum amount you would pay is 0.25%. So a quarter as much as I was paying in my 403B for the cheapest fund is what our most expensive fund is. Our funds go all the way down to 0.07%. That means you would pay 70 cents per year for each $1,000 in your account. 70 cents on 1,000. That is unheard of. And so you're not going to be paying a lot. You're not paying commissions. I don't get anything if you sign up. That's how important I think this is. I'm spending this much time and I don't get anything out of it. You can do $10 a month. You can do $50 a month. There is no minimum. Whatever you feel like you can manage, any amount saved is always better than no amount saved. So that's my pitch. And if you want more information how to enroll, we offer 401k, 457, and Roth in both of those. And you might be thinking, I don't know which one is better. That's what we talk about in this one. We actually bring in taxes, like your tax situation actually helps you understand whether Roth is better than the traditional option. 401k, 457, what's the difference? Which one's better for you? So that's that webinar. This one here, Investing Made Simple. Oh my goodness, I am taking up too much time. That's self-explanatory. And then Developing Savings Plan. So you can find those on the QR codes in the back as well. And then homework. Log into your account. If you've never logged into your account, it's a wonderland of retirement information. You can see your highest ever salary. You can use calculators that will show you what your retirement benefit will be 10 years in the future. And so those are really helpful. Start saving in the 401k 47. I just pushed that. Consider purchasing service credit. Again, it's just a consideration. This isn't something that PERA is actually selling. When you purchase service credit, all of the money that you pay goes into your PERA member account. And that all comes back to you when you retire. So you're not actually buying anything. You're just investing your retirement money differently to get higher service credit. And we have a webinar for that one as well. I think it's on the mid-career flyer. There's a purchasing service credit. So attend other webinars. The retirement process one is a pretty important one. That helps you figure out how to fill out forms. And that's all I have. Sorry I went too long. I get really excited about talking about retirement. So here's our contact information. I'm going to send this presentation and you're gonna attach it to the recording. So if you go and find this recording, you can find this contact information. All right, I surrender the microphone.
Okay. Oh, it works. All right. Well, I'm glad to be here. We're presenting today myself, Emma Chavez, for the CARE program, and then Aubrey Montoya Baker will be presenting about the employee housing programs. So there are actually two of us. So we have combined the presentation. It is rather a little long, but I won't spend a whole lot of time in all of them. I'm just going to go through it, and then I hope the presentation can be shared again. Most of the resources are linked to the presentation, so it will be easier to find all the details about what resources we'll be presenting. So the CARE program connects and refers employees to resources, and these could be resources not just on campus, but also resources in the community. And we can work with all the northern Colorado area. Although I'm not an expert with Denver or the Western Slope, sometimes I do get employees who are in those areas, and I can find ways to get resources for those areas as well. But my expertise and knowledge of resources is basically and mostly for northern Colorado. The CARE program core values, so it's caring, communication, competence, collaboration, and confidentiality. And I want to point out, I won't go into telling all of them, but when you access the CARE program, we are a confidential resource. So the information that you come in and bring it to share will get confidential. We take the time to listen, to understand, to see what you're needing, and then point you in the right direction with the current resources available. And we do this in, I call it a collaborative way, just not myself, but also the employee and also the resource we're trying to link you with. One way
Emma?
yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Matt, will you change the screen sharing, please? It's still showing your slides instead of Emma's. Thank
Oh.
you.
Sorry.
No, actually, you did that.
Thanks for that note. Oh, wait a little bit.
Perfect. Thank
Can
you.
see it now? Okay, good. So those are the care values. So I'm going to go on overview of services provided, but I want to mention one thing that I like to share to visualize what I do. It is I kind of like to point out that I'm like a bridge. So when you come to see me, I'm going to hold your hand at the beginning of the bridge. I'm going to kind of help you and understand what you're needing, and I'll help you cross the bridge. So either I can hold your hand for a little bit and let you go, because maybe you can, access the resource and find it all on your own. And maybe I can walk with you all the way to the end of that bridge. So that's a nice ways to kind of visualize what my work is and what I do for employees. So these are some of the work that I do. It's collaboration, outreach to employees for referrals, assessments, some basic needs, crisis intervention, and then provide information to you. So there is a listserv that you can sign up and get updates about changes, about new programs, things of that nature. And that can be done by either sending me an email, or if you go to the CARE website, you'll be able to find a link that says subscribe to the listserv. You put your name in, and then you'll get the notifications when they are sent out. And these are the fun part. We're starting out to the fun part, which are the list of resources. So I kind of separate by topic, and one of the big ones that I like to point out is the food assistance resources. So I'm not sure if everyone is aware. If not, we have a food pantry that used to be here in the LSC hosted by the Slice office, but now they have their own house up in General Services. Just like I said before, each of these resources has a link directly to their website. So by clicking on the website, you can find the hours, the location, the times. I do know that the pantry has some closures dates coming up due to the winter break. So I recommend those who are users of the pantry to check the times and dates. We have run right services as well for those who might be inbound employees who might have maybe a surgery, or they can't come to campus, or maybe they're working from home. Run Right will deliver a box of food every Friday for those who might not be able to access food coming to campus, or maybe transportation issues. Maybe you don't have a car, then you can take the food. So you can sign up with Run Right, and they'll deliver the box of food to your home. And then the pocket pantries are on campus, and I know we have several here in the LSC. We'll take time telling you where those are, because I think you all maybe know it. But you can access it by using your CSU ID. And then we have in the community food bank of Larimer County, the United Way. It's a referral center where they can point you up with not just food services, but financial, housing, all those kind of resources. And then Vindicate Foods is another organization that puts together efforts to collect whatever, like Costco or Sam's Club or what's the store? Sprouts have leftovers, or they're trying to kind of get it out to the community. Vindicate collects all of those, and they distribute those foods on weekends. So sometimes most of the pantries and the food bank works on a Monday to Friday schedule. Vindicate Foods works on weekends. So just kind of to make it accessible to those who might benefit from access to those resources. We have utility assistance resources. We have partnered with Energy Outreach Colorado, and now we provide utility help for CSU affiliates. And this is for any employee who might have a past due bill on either their electric bill or their heating or gas. If it is a past due bill, please click on the link, fill out the application, and then we'll reach out to gather more information and help those who might need it. City of Fort Collins has a different programs. One of them, the Pain Assistance Fund. They have the LEAP program. They have a medical assistance if in case you know anyone who might use a CPAP or an oxygen. And they are using a lot of electricity due to those medicals. equipments, they can get up to a 30% discount per month on their electric bills. And then we also have house or neighborhood services in Loveland, offer the same kind of services that we provide in Fort Collins for those Loveland residents. It is called the HAND program. And financial assistance resources, we have the Emergency Hardship Loan Fund, which is a fund that does help for those who might have a kind of an emergency. In the past, it was just for emergencies, not including housing, but right now we are in the work to expand the Emergency Hardship Loan Fund, and we'll cover housing as well. That's on the work, so hopefully by February, is that what we're looking at to expand that housing option for the Emergency Loan Fund. United Way, again, the 211 referral can also provide resources for financial assistance. We have an emergency financial assistance for those who are state classified employees. And this resource comes from the Colorado State Employee Assistance Program. It is a $500 fund that you can apply for, and it is no loan, it's a fund. So if you apply and you get it, you don't have to pay it back. And then we also have a CSU CARES funding available for employees who might be or have been affected by COVID or Colorado fires or any natural disaster. So it is active now, and I know COVID had passed, but some people are still lingering effects of that. It is worth applying and learning if your situation qualifies for the fund rather than not applying and losing that opportunity. The CSU CARES funding, it has a maximum allowed of $2,000. And then we have mental health resources. We have on campus and in the community. How are we doing on time, Audra? I want to give you a time. Okay, so I can go quick. But I'm going to point out of the mental health resources that we have partnered and we work with the third party ComPsych. And through the ComPsych program, each employee at CSU under dependence can receive up to 6 free counseling sessions. And how it works, it is that you call a number, they connect you with a local mental health therapist in the area. Let's say you live in Wellington or in Windsor and you want a therapist as close to your home. They can provide mental and therapists in, I think it's in the whole US. So we have employees from Chicago, from Michigan calling, and they can also access those resources. I won't go in detail, but if you go to the links, you can find a lot of other mental health resources on campus, like different departments and clinics and therapies that can be offered. Some of them are free and some of them are with a slightly fee scale or a discount for employees. And then in the community, the basic and the biggest ones that provide mental health resources are Sandstone and the Health District of Larimer County. And this is kind of new. We launched it in 2022, some of them at the beginning, some towards the middle of the year. But we have a USCSU that it was in the past only available for students. Now it is also available for staff. All you need is your CSU login ID and password. And you can access all the resources that are available for staff. What I find out is works better when I'm using the USCSU is click on the search button once you are inside the database and click what you're looking for. So maybe you're looking housing or employee resolutions, or if you click and type what you're looking for, it'll give you specific resources to that targeted topic. So I have found that that is a little bit more helpful. And then we also have Silver Cloud, and Silver Cloud, it is the free online program that you can do on your own. It's open 24/7. You just create, and you can do it through your phone, through your tablet, or your computer. Again, you need your CSU login ID and password to access Silver Cloud, and you can choose a variety of topics. Some of them are depression, anxiety, sleep disorders, things of that nature. And it's a tool that takes you to explain a little bit what the condition is, how to overcome it, and they give you tools and coaching, how to apply those, what you learn in the modules, into practice. We have child and dependent care resources for childcare. There are some after-school programs, Boys and Girls Club, Larimer Child Care Connect. If you were to use the Larimer Child Care Connect, I'll encourage people to use the advanced search and select your zip code, the kind of childcare you're looking for, because that information will come back more targeted to your needs and what you're hoping to achieve when looking for childcare. And then for the elder care, we have the senior access point of Larimer County and the Aging Clinic of the Rockies, as well as the Center Health in Aging and CSU. And they have programs, classes, all kind of resources for anyone who might be, who are 60 and older, is the majority of the services and programs. I currently have my mother-in-law who moved in with us. So it's been a new experience of learning a lot about elder care. I've been becoming an expert too on that. Financial and well-being classes, we work with Campus Credit Union to provide classes. Right now during the break, there are not that many classes offered, but once we begin the semester, we'll have a whole lineup of new classes coming up. Through the My Learning database, you can find health and well-being classes as well. And then the Colorado State Employee Assistance Program also have a list of webinars and classes. I encourage you to visit the website, the CARE program website. That's where you can find a lot of more information about resources by category. Here's where you can sign up to receive updates. And then you can move through the banner of different resources. I try to update with current and new programs and resources available. And last but not least, Commitment to Campus is a place where you can find discounts of all the different kind of discounts. We try to update and change those kinds of discounts depending on what's available in the community and what they want to offer to CSU. So I encourage you to play with that and find out what we have as a new program. So one of my favorites is the Denver International Airport parking discounts. You could save quite a lot, and it covers for business and personal travel as well. But I won't go into detail. I just want to, if you click into those link, it will take you directly to see all the discounts that we have with Commitment to Campus. And this is my contact information, and I think we have time for Audrey.
I'm going to skip a lot of this, so we have a percentage. I'm Audra Montoya Baker. I'm an employee housing programs coordinator, relatively new to the position. I've only been in it for a couple of months. I mentioned we're going to just, you all are getting the slides, so you'll have access to all of this information. And you're certainly welcome if you have questions to reach out to me. And if there's something on the slide that you're like, I'd like to know more about what you mean or what this is about, just holler at me. I'd certainly be happy to chat with anyone more. But I want to get to the good stuff that you all care about. So some information and resources. My website has a bunch of information for whether that's renting, whether that's emergency housing assistance, whether that's buying a home. There's a whole bunch of information on our website. My predecessor, and I believe Emma, worked to put together a moving and relocation guide, which is on the website. If you've got staff or you've got new hires coming in and they want some information,
Hi all. I think that that is what happened. She was saying that their cord wouldn't reach to where her computer was, so I think she got kicked out. Carly, get off. I think she got kicked out of the meeting. This has been a interesting training.
The other thing that I think is underneath the banner is we are working with Canvas Credit Union to roll out a mortgage insurance waiver program. And that's coming online here in the next couple of months, waiting on signatures. So the actual logistics and negotiations are out of the way in that signature point, which is incredibly exciting. For folks who don't have a 20% down payment, if you ever looked at buying a loan or you've looked at some information, a mortgage insurance premium, and that can cost $100 a month, which in this market can really add up and it can really change what you can qualify for or what you feel comfortable with. So this program CSU has so very graciously offered to give it access, which would mean that Canvas could eliminate that mortgage insurance for folks. So we've got some really cool things coming up next semester. And so, like I said, if you want to sign up for a listener, then that's a great way for you to get information. Please do. If that's overwhelming and you want to just get information through, I'm working with our communications department. We'll have significant communications out to the place to make sure that folks are aware of what's being offered. And we are past time, but if anyone has questions for any of us, I'm sure we've all spoken up a little bit. And we'll get these, but because there's some other information and resources in here, so. What? Does anyone have questions for me while I'm up here? No. And then I'll pass it over to someone else to get questions for somebody else. Thank you for all the information. We really appreciate it.
All right, Emily. You're getting lots of thanks
Yeah.
from the folks on video.
Did you say thanks?
Yes, lots of people on the video are saying thank you to them.
Oh, yes, Emma and Audra and Matt did great. Way to roll. Way to just roll with the punches. Thank you so
Right.
much for that important information.
All right, and I'm going to shut you down.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks all. Thanks everyone who's on here.
Oh my gosh.